and gentlemen, the 3 knockdown rule is in effect. I'm Steve Kim, joined by our Mr. October, Mario Lopez.
Hey, I'll take that, Kimster. You're looking rather handsome today, by the way. With our Justin Buffalo Knuckles on the 1s and 2, repping with the gear on.
We've got a lot of boxing to talk about.
Yeah, we do.
The schedule is in full gear. This past Friday night from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, from the Leah Course Center on ESPN, and we now have a unified 175-pound champion. It is Artur the Beast Beterbiev, who now owns the WBC and IBF light heavyweight title, stopping Alexander Gvozdyk. And Mario, I thought Gvozdyk won some early rounds. He may have built the lead, but at the end of the day, the nail was hammered.
This fight lived up to the billing. It delivered. And man, it was so exciting just to see two fighters in their prime, champions, willing to put it all on the line and unify. And again, yes, Gvozdyk did lose, but at the same time, I thought, hey, you know what? He's obviously a real player, not only in the division, but I think in the sport, the fact that he was able to take on the challenge, I don't think he suffered too much damage. I heard there was possible concussion.
Slight
concussion. But for the most part, you know, nothing too, fortunately, incredibly serious. I thought he was boxing his ass off the first few rounds. Yeah. Going upstairs, downstairs, those combinations were coming fast and furious. I go, ooh. If he can keep that up, and that's a big if, and we know how that turned out, that he might steal enough rounds to put him in the bank to be able to pull this out. I'm really glad they reversed that BS knockdown.
Yeah.
That was not a knockdown, but Beterbiev, man, whoa. You know, it's one of those things where you're seeing the fight and you're like, ooh, Beterbiev, if he's able to, at the same time, if his conditioning's up to par and he's able to maintain his pace and continue to close the distance, continue to throw those hard shots in the body, because when he was landing, you could see he had those.
You could hear him.
Those thudding punches. I was like, ooh, he might be able to do some wear and tear and maybe close the fight out or possibly take him out. And that's exactly what happened. He withstood that the fire that was coming at him, because it was coming at him, and it was coming at him pretty. And I thought Teddy Atlas was doing a good job by giving him good directions. It was just good instructions, rather, but it was just that Beterbiev was too much. He was a little slicker, more nuanced that I was giving him credit for. It wasn't just a heavy-handed guy. He was parrying some of those punches. Yeah. He was closing in that distance. He maintained good. He's not used to going the distance. Yeah. He maintained his composure, drilling those hard shots, and man, just ended up taking him out, breaking his spirit along with his body physically, and there was no controversy. And I think he is the best in that division, and that's even with Bivol and Kovalev. I really do. I think the guy showed. Look, the fact that he faced Gvozdyk, who was they're both undefeated, but the credentials that he brings to the table, the way he overcame the firepower that was coming at him, that was the toughest opponent I think you could face in that division. Maybe Bivol, but I still think he posed the biggest threat, and he destroyed him eventually. Yeah. He makes him It makes him number one in that division for my book.
And you know who also agrees with you is Tim Bradley, my ESPN colleague who called the action from Philadelphia. These are his thoughts on Beterbiev immediately after the fight.
That dude.
And I'm gonna be straight out with you. It looked like Gvozdyk didn't have the gas tank.
Really?
Yeah, it seemed like he wasn't conditioned enough. You know, to take on that amount of pressure, that amount of them body shots he took. You know, that took a lot out of him in that fight. You know, I thought he was boxing well out at distance, but he couldn't slow down.
Right.
Slow down. The strong, determined, the undeterred Beterbiev with punching power, boy.
How do you think Beterbiev matches up with Kovalev and or Canelo?
You know what, man? He's a wrecking ball, man. You know, he's a seek and destroy type of guy, and he showed tonight that he's more cerebral than we give him credit for.
Right.
He's just not a come forward fighter. He starts sending that right hand down to the body.
Yeah.
We were expecting him looping the right hand, and then you gotta give credit to Ramsey. Did you hear Ramsey telling him cut him off with the left hook? He keeps moving to his right. Cut him off with the left hook and then swing him back right. That's great instructions. and that's great by following the instructions of Ramsey and Beterbiev. He's a phenomenal fighter, man.
Do you think Beterbiev's one of these guys? You might win a couple rounds. You might even build a lead. The problem is it's a marathon. You got to go 36 minutes with this guy.
You got to go 36 minutes with this guy. You know, the fact that he's only been to 12 rounds once.
Right.
All right, and he knocked out the guy. All right, I thought the conditioning was going to be a factor.
Yeah.
But he wasn't the one that was breathing. He wasn't the one that was breathing hard. The one that was breathing hard was Gvozdyk.
Yeah.
And I thought Gvozdyk should have been in better shape. He didn't look like he was in tip-top shape for this fight.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with Bradley on that. That dude's bad. He's got heavy hands, bad man. He's got like that mean sort of mentality too, and that good finisher's mentality. And he's strong for that weight class. I would favor him. Put it this way. There's a very talented weight, but I would favor him in any matchup.
Agreed. This reminded me a little bit, without the frenetic pace, not quite the tempo, of Margarito Cotto 1.
Excellent example. Excellent example.
One
That's
guy
exactly,
had to work
yes.
a lot harder to win early rounds, and one guy's just kind of walking through everything, and the pacing. It's like the tortoise and the hare. And there was two key moments in my view in rewatching the fight. In the 6th round, I thought Beterbiev landed a right hand to the body where you could see Gvozdyk kind of crumple over, and it became like a balloon that was steadily losing air.
Yep.
And then after the 9th round, where you kind of knew, like, the pendulum has swung, and Teddy Atlas gave him that great speech, like, hey, you got to stand up here. At the beginning of the 10th, Gvozdyk landed a whistling right hand. Beterbiev walked right through it. Fight was over.
Well, that was it. That was it. And listen, it's not like Gvozdyk can't crack.
Yeah.
He could crack. It's just Beterbiev, man. He's got a set of whiskers on him. And that kid's he's nails, no pun intended, but he is tough. And just another level. So I'm comfortable saying that I think he's the man at that weight.
You know, if there were 15-round fights, I think he'd be unbeatable because his pacing.
But that was the next example you gave of Margarito
Right.
Cotto. That's exactly how the fight
because
played
look
out.
at the scorecards, 87-84, 86-85 for the nail, and 87-83 for Beterbiev. And Mario, being there ringside, I wasn't quite as close as Tim Bradley, but there are certain guys that when they punch and you're there live ringside, you kind of feel the punches.
Yeah.
And it's not just a sound, it's just kind of the way they resonate. They almost bounce off the walls, the sound. And Greg Serb, the Pennsylvania commissioner, said that's one of the hardest hitters, and he's right on the apron that he's ever seen.
Well, like Margarito Cotto and also a little like Chavez Taylor.
Yes.
To be honest, too, because the same in those fights are very similar. I thought too that because we hadn't seen him really go that long before. I was really impressed by how calm, composed, and ready for the moment he was. Yeah. Because obviously his biggest fight, and he seemed like he had been there a dozen times before.
A lot of credit to Mark Ramsey, the trainer of Artur Beterbiev. He has a really good track record out of Montreal. He told us at the fighter meetings to the ESPN crew, he said, guys, you guys all talk about the power, but my guy is more sophisticated than you think.
That's what I learned.
And he proved to be prophetic. Now, Beterbiev, my understanding is from Bob Arum, came over to ringside press, and he said, he's going to fight in China. There's a WBA mandatory that they must take care of, or I think an IBF. They're going to do some business there. And then
he better not tweet.
Yeah, don't tweet. Well, look, don't make any political statements. But in my view, Dimitri Bivol is a realistic possibility. You saw the way Jose Ramirez and Mo Hooker hooked up across platforms. Bivol does not have a lot of options on that side of the street. Eddie Hearn's made it clear, if we want to unify the belts, we are willing to take Bivol over to ESPN. Look, do I think Bivol's boxing and his educated left hand and his fast feet can really build an early lead? Right. He can win the sprint. Who wins the marathon against this guy?
I think the same fight happens, maybe with not as much drama, and it gets a little closer to the end, where Bivol is able to sustain that pace maybe a little bit longer. Yeah. But I think Beterbiev is so good at closing that distance, and I don't think Bivol hits as hard as Gvozdyk.
No, he doesn't. And
so I think he's be able to close that distance maybe even a little farther. So I think it might be inevitable. He's all wrong for us, baby. He needs to move down.
Right.
He needs to move down.
The other issue with Gvozdyk, who I really respect as a fighter and a human being, he landed some flush right hands.
Yeah.
And I never got the sense, though, he hit him hard enough where it made Beterbiev say, ooh, wait a minute, hold on. I just can't come through the welcome mat.
Right.
I'm not going to come unimpeded. There's a long line drawn in the sand where I better be very careful. I think once he figured out this guy can't really hurt me as much as I can hurt him,
that's when it was over.
Psychologically, that fight also turned. So congratulations to Artur Beterbiev, your newest unified champion in the sport of boxing. And you know what? We're going to add another unified belt holder this Saturday. We're all in the zone.
Wait, before we continue, I just want to stay in that weight class for a little bit because Gilberto Ramirez is also in that weight class too, right? What did Aram say? I was curious if you spoke with him about.
Here's what's going on with Gilberto. He's in Bolivian, as Mike Tyson would say. He's going through some stuff. He's got a new advisor. The wife's getting involved.
Oh, no,
look,
not the wife.
Let me give you an example. I was told by a very good
That's
source.
when it all goes south.
Right, in no other sport does the wife start getting into this stuff. Like LeBron James' significant other, don't even know her name. But I know one thing. She's not negotiating with Jeannie Buss, right? Or Kobe Bryant.
No,
or
what? They all try to, I mean, oh, God.
He was offered, Gilberto Ramirez, $1 million to fight Felix Valera, who's just kind of like this fringe contender to be on the co-main of Tyson Fury while in. They wanted a lot more.
Come on.
Then they wanted
Stupid.
other fights, and they want $2 million. So
They're dying on the vine. Dying on the vine.
In my view, he's on the sideline, and you're absolutely right. And he was at the fight, and I think he must have met Top Rank.
Yes.
And he came on my flight home. I didn't get a chance to talk to him. I shook his hand, but I felt like telling him, out of sight, out of mind.
You're exactly right. That is whoever's advising him, horrible.
Right. So, Mario, moving on this Saturday night in the Zone, O2 Arena, London, England, the World Boxing Super Series Finals. It's had a lot of twists and turns and ups and downs, but we are here at the 140-pound finals for the WBA and IBF Junior Welterweight title. Regis Prograis takes on Josh Taylor, and like last week, get a quarter out and flip it. I think it's another 50-50 fight.
This has been such a great year with matchups that really could have gone either way. And it's also been the year of the upset. We've seen some great upsets, but yes, like we said before, heads or tails, we don't know who can win. Anyone can honestly win this fight. I do like both fighters. They're completely different types of fighters. At the moment, I think I'm leaning towards Taylor by a slight hair.
By a smidge, huh?
I mean a smidge. If I was a betting man,
Yeah.
I would have to go through Taylor. Due to location, I think that he is. What's funny, because we were talking about Margarito, Cotto, Chavez, Taylor types of fights. This sort of fight may be able to emulate that. However, I think Taylor is savvy enough and has enough pop to have Prograis respect him to where it makes it interesting. Now, Prograis can let his hands go, and he's a heavy-handed kid, and he could change things dramatically. But from what I've seen of Taylor, I'm really impressed. But again, it is a very, very, I'm not saying anyone in a landslide here. It is a very, very close fight. Do you disagree?
As you said, home canvas advantage. We have to understand there's politics to this. There's a reality. He may already be up 2-0 on the scorecards.
Don't get crazy,
okay?
Alderstone.
But at the same time, there's also the skill level. You're right. Josh Taylor isn't just a guy that's a flash in the pan. This guy's a talented guy, and he's right in the prime of his physical life. Also, foot speed. Even though they're both southpaws, if you're to say to me, who's the guy that can box a little bit more from the outside, using his feet, utilizing the perimeter of the ring, and stinking it out when he has to? Because I think Prograis is a little bit better puncher. I think that is Taylor. And I think in situations like that, where there's a lot of close rounds, and if one guy can give the impression that he's quote-unquote boxing, well, you put all those things together, if one guy has a slight advantage, whether it's through geography or tactics, I do agree with you. I would slightly favor Taylor. My head is with Taylor. My heart is with Prograis, who I really like. But there's a lot on the line for Rougarou out of New Orleans, who now lives in L.A. This is what he had to say about this career-defining matchup.
That's going to be
Regis, do you get the sense that this fight with Taylor was only going to happen if you agreed to go to the UK?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think Lou was kind of pushing for New York and, trying to, get a neutral place. I guess if you could say New York is a neutral place, but I thought at the time, I thought that was the best place to put it. But now I'm kind of glad that it's happening in London. It's 18 to 20,000 people gonna be in the stadium. It's pay-per-view over there on Sky Sports. So for me, it's a dream come true type of fight.
Was there ever a point, because we all heard the reports, I think some of us reported, did you ever think, this ain't gonna happen?
No, I never thought that. I always thought that was gonna happen. For me, All right, so you look at the history of the World Boxing Super Series, and all the fights always went through. Now they did have some troubles and stuff like that. They had troubles as far as like some people didn't get paid, or they got paid late and stuff, and then some fighters threatened to pull out. But as far as the history goes, all the fights always happen. So for me, it wasn't about like if I'm gonna fight Taylor, it was always about when I'm gonna fight him.
How disappointing or devastating would it have been for you personally if this thing would have not taken place, if this finals for the Muhammad Ali trophy would have gone by the wayside?
I mean, yeah, it definitely would have been very disappointing because that's what I entered the tournament for. The Muhammad Ali trophy, and then on top of that, the ring magazine belt is on the line, and then you have my title and his title on the line. So it's 4 different titles on the line, and then after this, and even saying all those titles, this fight will make the King of 140.
It's interesting. You have belts. You are a world champion. You're highly regarded. You're undefeated. But do you think this is the fight, beyond even the titles at stake and even the Muhammad Ali trophy, this is the one that launches you into stardom?
Yes, I think so for sure. And that's why I'm saying, like, that's why I'm glad it's happening now. That's why, it's and to be happening in London, at, like I said, in London at the O2 in front of 18 or 20,000 people, this is superstardom.
So, Mario, that is a 50-50 matchup. Look, I don't really want to make a definitive pick, neither do you. I just want to enjoy the fight. I think it's the type of fight
we win
that needs to happen more in boxing. And
listen, that's back-to-back weekends now that we have champions going up against each other. We're honestly, because I thought Beterbiev-Gvozdyk was a pick'em fight.
So did I.
That's a coin flipper. Who knows if this one will have the same sort of result with the heavy-handed guy prevailing, but it's another coin flipper.
In the last year or so, going back to like the Canelo-Golovkin rivalry, every time we have fights at a high level, at the world-class level of top 5-6 guys
that are evenly matched,
yeah, generally the fights are very good.
Yes, that's what's supposed to happen.
Right. Mario, another great fight. I'm going to be up north in Reno, Nevada on ESPN.
You are racking up those frequent flyer
really
miles.
The Reno Sparks Convention Center is the place to be for the vacant WBO featherweight title that was once held by Oscar Valdez. Shakur Stevenson takes on Joet Gonzalez, and there's no love lost between these guys. Here's what Joet Gonzalez said about his opponent.
It is testy between you and Shakur. Why is that?
Hey, man, the kid, like I said, the kid's disrespectful, he got no morals. He's a joke. He's a joke, to be honest. And come October 26th, I'm going to teach him a thing or two and humble him.
I heard there's a family issue. Is that still ongoing?
To be honest, it's not even about that. He's trying to make it about that. He's trying to make it about race. He's trying to, the kid's just, his back's against the wall. You don't know what to say. Never liked him since the amateurs. He's just rude. He's arrogant, and he's a hypocrite. And that's pretty much all it is. But like I said, October 26th, I'll be more than ready, and I'm gonna beat his ass.
Have you ever felt this way about an opponent? Because boxing is still a sport. You have to, you just have to control your emotions. Have you ever felt this way about a guy you're gonna face?
No. I definitely don't like him. You've seen it up on stage. I mean, he's just rude. I don't even think his own promoter likes him, to be honest.
Right.
The fighters on Top Rank don't even like him. I mean, he's a joke, and I just can't wait for October 26th.
Is pressure the key? And immediate pressure and consistent pressure?
I'll show you guys October 26th. I'm training really hard. But there's no doubt in my mind that I'm going to come out with the win.
So how do you win then? He seems to be a pretty slick southpaw.
Yeah, I mean, he's an Olympic silver medalist. Obviously, you got to be good to win a medal in the Olympics. So I'll give him that. But I just don't think he's seen nobody like me before. All the guys he's fought are little guys. It's just a product of
matchmaking.
Matchmaking of Top Rank, and but Top Rank's matchmakers can't help him for this one. I'm coming for him, and I'm gonna beat him down.
Will it be difficult for you to control your emotions on that particular night?
No, not at all. I train for this. This is my job. I'm just gonna go in there, do my fight, and the rest will play out on its own.
It is interesting at the face-off. You guys kept it cool though. Both to your credit, you guys were very professional. What was going through your mind as you looked into his eyes?
Actually, we didn't face off.
You're right, you didn't. But you guys stood next to each other, though.
Next to each other. I mean, I can stand next to, as long as you don't touch me or, you know, start talking, you know, then I'll just look at him and probably say something back. But I think Top Rank knows that I don't fuck around. Once that face-off would have happened, if he would have run his mouth, probably had a bitch slap him or something, you know?
Mario, in my view, if you're Joet Gonzalez, you have to be the pressure fighter because Shakur is your classic, slick, well-schooled southpaw. 3 words: pressure, pressure, pressure.
Smart pressure, effective pressure. You don't want to go in there reckless either because then you're going to get caught with something. The other fights we just mentioned were about 50-50. This one I'd say is a little closer to maybe 65-35.
Yeah.
With Stevenson. Still pretty, you know, a lot of room for drama right there. This is exciting, man. I like this fight. 2 very, very young guys.
And the personal drama with
Yeah,
the sister and
is
the
that
dating.
that's not
Ugh.
fabricated? That's going to ask you. That's real then, huh?
Oh, no. Mark Kriegel has done a story. It's going to come out later this week. This is the boxing version of the Hatfields and the McCoys.
Ooh,
I mean, this is real.
really?
Trust me. And we don't know if the
Because you never
sister's
know
going to
if
show
it's
up.
Oh, really?
We don't know
Wow.
which side of the ring she's going to be on. I've heard she's no longer part of the family.
Well, what happened for those not familiar?
Well, Shakur Stevenson, for a short spell, or still is, dating Joet Gonzalez's sister.
Oh, that's cold as ice.
Cold, yeah. And, you know, there's been some back and forthing on Twitter where Shakur Stevens says, your family doesn't like me because I'm racist. And Joet says, no, we don't, it's not nothing to do with race. You're just a jerk.
Yeah.
And so, look, that's going to be a tense week
Where
in
does
Reno.
where does the sister sit?
That's exactly my point. Is there a
Wow.
50-yard line?
Is she
in
still
boxing?
there? She's still with? Ooh,
I
gosh.
don't know. I don't know the extent of that relationship still, but ESPN on their website put up a teaser of the Kriegel piece.
Yeah.
And there is a picture of Joet's sister with Shakur.
Oh man,
So I'm like, wow.
that's a mean one. You got to go with family. I'm sorry.
La
You got to
familia.
you got to go with familia first.
But I think this is going to be a very, very interesting fight tactically. But I do think from the
What if
very
he
beginning.
what if he drops a ring on her right before?
Whoa.
Oh, then it's family. Which one? No. Where are you going there? Right?
What
Then
do
that's
they,
different.
What do they say? Blood in, blood out.
Right? Oh, man.
But I do think if you're Joet from the opening second, you got to close the gap.
Yes.
Because if that fight is from the outside and there's airspace, that seriously favors Shakur Stevenson. Mario, moving on to news and notes. We hate to talk about it, but I think we do have a responsibility. Rest in peace to Patrick Day, who passed away on Wednesday
gosh.
afternoon. Complications from his fight on October 12th against Charles Conwell, where he was stopped in 10 rounds in Chicago. I don't know what to really say other than that this was a very, very good young man, and this has ramifications. I read that Joe Higgins, who did some great work, who trained Dave from the beginning, ran a community gym, is so distraught, closed up the gym. He just said, I don't want anyone ever getting hurt by this sport. I don't want anything to do with it. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, boxing saves a lot of lives.
Right.
And a guy like Joe Higgins is a great ambassador in a lot of ways, and he's a hero to the community. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, there's a lot of casualties here in a situation like this.
Well, there's been 6 fatalities, if you're keeping count, since July. That's just this year.
Too damn many.
Man,
One's too
that's-
many, but 6 is
Listen,
ridiculous.
I mean, it's like Santa Anita Park with the horses.
Yeah.
It's just there's no explanation. Well, look, you're dealing with the sport is life and death. You can't legislate contact in a contact sport.
Yeah.
You just can't. It is what it is, especially a
But
physical
do you think
one
the powers
like
that
boxing.
be need to have a summit to say, okay, it's never going to be completely safe. It's like football. You can make all the rules you want. You're still going to get concussions. Does there need to be a summit with all the decision makers, from the commissions to the promoters to the big name managers, to come together to actually discuss how can we make it a little bit safer than it currently is?
Kim, it's not. But then what are you going to make the gloves now all
Right.
16 ounces?
Which, by the way, it's proven to be more dangerous because more weight.
Well, that's what I'm
in
saying.
longer fights.
So
And headgear actually rattles the brain still. A lot of guys get hurt during sparring. Here's the thing that I
the
saw.
headgear just prevents you from getting cut. That's what I'm saying. You can't legislate
But
contact.
let me give you an example where the culture needs to change again. We talked about this with Maxim Dadashov.
We did talk about that
Now-
if you're down 8 rounds
to one in a 12-rounder, pull it.
Exactly.
Now, in this fight, again, I am not
Exactly.
assigning blame to Joe Higgins. I would
No,
not have
that's the
stopped
thing.
that fight. But let
Exactly.
me just tell you another aspect of where the culture can change. So I get home on Saturday. I'm watching college football. Then Golden Boy has their Facebook show from Mexico. And I didn't even know he was on the card, but you know who was fighting and getting cut up and bled? And Francisco Vargas.
Wow.
And I'm thinking to myself, time out. Wait a minute. I was at Vargas's last fight against Burchell where he gave a valiant effort, but he's a spent bullet.
Yes.
There's nothing there. He's bleeding all over the place. And I know the thinking, well, he wants to fight again, and we owe it to him, and so we want to help him out. Okay, hold on. And I've said this years ago, one of my cliches. In other industries, they give you a gold watch. In boxing, as you retire, they give you beatings. My view is if you really like the guy and you want to pay him to fight, sometimes say, you know what? We'll pay you not to. I just think something about.
I'm with you
like,
on that. That's where we can help.
Right.
Both in the when you're up so many rounds and it doesn't
Right.
look like you come back and you've got 4 or 5 less, no need to
Right.
take that extra beating. Or an example like Vargas,
You're
where
outta here.
just beating after beating. You got to get out of there. You can't.
Save guys from themselves. And if
Exactly.
you want to give them a retirement fight, how about giving them a retirement check?
Yes.
Because I would hate to be a matchmaker that booked a guy one too many times, and to see him carted off, that's terrible.
Oh, man.
That'd be something on my conscience
Tough
that I
to
don't think
live
I
with.
could ever get over.
Tough to live with.
Mario, other news. Errol Spence, he's out of the hospital, but he'll be charged with the DWI. Look, again, I like Errol, but when you're putting up social media posts saying, no broken bones, I'm a savage, I'm like, Errol,
come on.
that's not the way to go.
I thought
here.
the jaw was broken though.
I heard well, the report is he got teeth knocked out.
Oh yeah, the teeth.
But
knocked out,
you know,
not broken. Okay.
I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist. I know you call me Asian Oliver Stone, but I have not seen a picture of him.
Right.
There's been like no thumbs up or thanks to everybody. I don't know when he's going to fight again because people have asked me, Steve, when do you think he'll go out there? I don't even want to speculate because, look, you just got thrown out of a car. We know he's going to live, but we don't know about his spine, his vertebrae, neurologically. And if you're getting teeth knocked out, you may have a busted jaw. Your vision
Well,
could be
he said
impaired.
nothing was broke, but nonetheless, your teeth getting knocked out. That's going to affect your clench in your jaw when
Right.
you're biting down on the punches.
First punch you
So
take.
now he's going to come get new grills. He's going to come out looking like Morton Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Remember Morton Downey with the new grill with
Yeah.
the teeth?
So anyway, best of luck to Errol Spence, and he's got some issues to deal with. Moving on, more news and notes. Saturday, Showtime, Reading, Pennsylvania. Set your DVRs, ladies and gentlemen. Junior middleweight action, Erickson Lubin takes on Nathaniel Gallimore. And junior welterweight, Robert Easter takes on Adrian Granados. And then, folks, Showtime is alive and well. December 7th, Jamal Charlo will take on Dennis Hogan. And then it looks like December 28th, 3 days after Christmas. Hate to be
Okay.
these fighters trying to make weight.
Yeah.
Yuriorkis Gamboa will take on Tank Davis and Mario.
Where's that fight at?
That might be, I heard, in New York City or Atlanta, Georgia. Mario, here's what I'm hearing
I'm
about.
down for a little Christmas fight,
Yeah.
like Rocky IV style.
I can't remember the last time HBO or Showtime ever did a card so late into the year. Now,
No, I remember Oscar used to fight like around New Year's. At some
Really?
point, there was a fight. I believe so. There was a fight like when New Year's fought. Pardon me, when New Year's landed.
Yeah.
New Year's Eve landed
Really?
like on a
I'd have to look
Saturday.
that up.
I remember somebody fought like around like on
in
Saturday.
Japan, they always do a New Year's Eve show. It's like a tradition.
Oh, that's cool.
What I'm hearing about Showtime.
I'd be down for that. I'd spend New Year's like that. That'd be
is-
fun.
Yeah, what I'm hearing about Showtime is next year they're going to be doing dates. They're not getting out of the business.
Okay.
They're going to ramp up the Showbox series, might come up with another series to get more
right,
talent
Stephen
available
Espinoza.
into the queue. Moving on to the news and notes segment of the show on Twitter. Let's see what we got here. A lot of things going on. Hold on, excuse me for just 1 second. Here's one from Luke Murphy. Guys, when was the last time we had a 30-day stretch of boxing with this many good fights? Spence Porter, Golovkin-Derevchenko, Beterbiev-Gvozdyk, and those are just the obvious one. Any stretches that come to mind? I'll be honest with you, Mario. This 30 to 45-day stretch is as good as I can remember.
I can't tell you. Well, you know what? We kind of said this last year. Last year we had a pretty
You're
good little
right, you're
stretch.
right.
We've been on a pretty good
But
back-to-back
for a
years.
whole month straight, though, I mean,
No. For
Yeah.
the month. No, you're right.
Right.
For as far as a month, consecutive weeks. No, this has been great.
and then in 2 weeks you got Canelo Kovalev.
Ooh, that's right.
Right. And then you got Logan Paul, KSI. And
Yes.
so the hits just
Oh wait, you slid that in. I said that yes. I take back that yes. I take back that yes, you rat bastard.
Here's one from RTID. Guys, would you rather have more cards on Friday nights? Oftentimes we get 2 or 3 more big fights on the same Saturday. especially for boxing / MMA fans.
Yes, because I am one of those boxing MMA fans, and the DVR's working overtime or the stream, so I'd rather go Friday, and then Saturday. You know what I'm not opposed to either? The Sunday afternoon fight.
ESPN did a few last year.
There's a few, not during football
So is
season.
FS1, right?
Not during football season, but when football season's over.
But the realistic problem is, from a promotional standpoint, and I saw this in Philadelphia, it's hard to get people to come out on a weekday. And then the television always controls.
You mean on
the
a
start.
Friday, huh?
On a Friday, yeah.
Yeah, end of the week, the traffic.
Right.
that
I remember
discourages.
when Una Moss used to do the Solo Boxeo series.
Yeah.
Top Rank and the network had to move it from Friday to Saturday because any West Coast card at 6 o'clock, everyone would be on the 405 or the 5, and it wouldn't be till like the main event you'd have any people, and they said this is not working out.
Yeah,
So
the
there
logistics, sure.
the
that could be
business logistics get in the way. Ed Keenan. Will the Canes win another game? Probably not. I'll be honest. I think FIU is the only one they actually win. Here's one from Alex Gomez. Beterbiev is the boxing version of Khabib. There's no stopping him. No one at 175 at least. Mario, if you're Canelo,
That's a
let's
nice little
say
analogy.
you beat Kovalev, are you taking that elevator back down to 68 and 60?
Yes, because he's all wrong for his baby. You want no part of that man.
Right, well, that's the next question. If Canelo packs on the pounds to make a healthy 175, do you see him cutting back down to 160 again, or is he now a 168, 175 fighter?
Listen, here's the two things. One, I think he's great at middleweight because he's not even a big middleweight.
Yeah.
Okay? Much less a light heavyweight. You know how I felt about him going up, but he's a big, strong, sturdy kid. However, there's been too many examples when guys gain weight and they go back down, they don't look good.
Roy Jones,
Chad Dawson,
Chris Bird.
Exactly. They don't look good. So it's been extremely detrimental and it hasn't boded well. So I'm not saying that's going to be the case
You know
with
what weight
Canelo.
he's gonna fight
but
at?
am I right?
No, I agree. Look, here's what I think. I equate this fight, what he's doing, to when Ray Leonard kind of said, oh, wait a minute, Donnie Lalonde.
Yeah.
I'll move up to face you, and I'll force a catch weight so I can win 2 belts at one time. I don't think there's any realistic expectation for Canelo to stay at 75. But you know what weight he's going to fight at the rest of his career?
You think 68, huh?
No, Canelo weight.
Oh, he's
Any damn way he wants. Because if,
Yeah, he
look,
sees it
look,
right. Yeah,
if
you're
I'm
right.
Canelo and you're one of these guys that needs to make some money,
Yeah.
and let's say you're 160, and I say to you, hey, you want to fight me for about $8 million? You say, yeah, and you say, what weight? And I said, well, let me just
163.
And you-
64.
What would your answer be?
Sure.
When? Right. So that is
exactly.
Canelo weight.
Yeah, I
Look,
guess so.
He's got the
He's earned it,
superstar's
right.
prerogative.
Right.
I believe you're right. You know what's funny? If he actually went down to 160, that'd be losing back 15 pounds. That
yeah.
would be like Roy Jones from John Ruiz,
Yeah.
which is more extreme, to Antonio Tarver. He was never quite the same
No,
again.
No. So it's going to be interesting to see. Which, by the way, does it favor? Yeah, well, it favors him in any way. I was going to
And
answer
there's
my
good
own
fights
question.
at 68.
There is, but I'm saying even let's say the Golovkin fight were to be made at 65.
Look, if you're Golovkin, you're the B-side. You're an
Yeah.
important B-side.
you take what's given.
Yeah, beggars cannot be choosers. Brad White, who would be on your Latin boxer Mount Rushmore? Well, you know, Chavez is one. He's got that carved out.
Chavez, Duran,
Yes.
Arguello.
Arguello.
Yeah,
Whoa, great
maybe
track record.
Arguello, Marquez, maybe.
Wow.
So Ricardo Lopez.
Barrera.
Oh, I love Morales too.
Morales.
I'd have to have my Mexican Mount Rushmore, and then there goes. Well, no, Duran's half Mexican,
Yeah.
so I have to get back to you on that.
Yeah, that's
I have to
enough.
get back
But
to
I
you.
do think Chavez and Duran are the first two names.
Correct,
They're George
Absolutely.
Washington and Lincoln.
Absolutely, yes.
Moving on to the final flurries. Mario, I have never heard of Dustin Poirier. I know he's really good at MMA. Middle of the card, I'm covering it. Dan Raphael's doing a lot of the work. I'm doing some of the other stuff. And my editors say, Steve, we heard that Dustin Poirier's there. Can you go interview him? And I said, well, there's an issue.
I don't know anything about
I don't know
him.
anything about him. What does he look like? So they sent me a picture, and they said, Steve, these are the questions you're going to ask him. Now, I've never met the guy.
Okay, but you got the question, so you're
Right, and he doesn't know who the hell I am. We're in the middle of the fight, right before the main event. A top-ranked photographer does me a solid, takes me over to him, introduces me, and I said to Dustin, look, ESPN wants this, and I just want you to know, if you don't like any of these questions, they wrote them for me.
Right.
So,
right.
very gracious guy.
Yeah.
I am a fan of Dustin Poirier. So
Yeah.
next time I'm watching MMA at your house,
Right.
on your couch, I am a Dustin Poirier fan.
You know, you'll be a fan of most of these MMA guys. They're all generally wrestlers. That's our foundation. Wrestlers are humble guys. They're good guys. They're a lot like boxers.
And he's a boxing fan.
Yeah,
he was
that's
there
what he
on
was
his own
there.
time
That's
saying, "Hey,
great.
look, I just wanted to see the
great.
fight." So,
Yeah, that's good
by
to
the way,
hear.
how good is he in the UFC though? Is he one of the main guys?
Yeah. He just won the title. He had beat Max Holloway in an upset. Then he faced Khabib, and he had just lost to Khabib. But it was competitive, good fight. I thought he almost had him at one point. But yes, he is good. He's a great fighter, high level.
And the fans in Philly, I had at least 4 or 5 people come up to me as we just walked. They had like these long delays in between fights, okay? Fans were coming up and say, "Hey, Steve, love the podcast."
All right.
So that is great to see. There
Thanks,
truly
Philly.
was a lot of brotherly love.
We love
in
Philly out there. We love Philly. You were in Philly. I was in
You
Denver.
had a great weekend.
Well, I did. The travel was. I missed my flight. They gave me. They sent me to the wrong terminal. 6 hours delayed. 6 hours, $1,500 later. It was the worst.
You did planes, trains, and automobiles.
I did. They did Denver, which isn't that far. But then I did a cool thing with Children's Diabetes and the Barbara Davis Center, and that you get thrown a challenge like that as a parent. I was happy now having 3 kids to be able to help out and that sort of deal. So that was cool. And then on the way back, I had another travel nightmare. There was a marathon, the Denver Marathon, closed down all the streets. Almost missed it, that close. Then I saw a cool show, Latin History for Morons, with John Leguizamo. It was a one-man show. He talks for 2 hours straight. And I like history and comedy, so it was a nice little combo. He was his last night here, but he's a very talented guy.
Okay, and Mario, I know your Sunday was not good. The Chargers are they're the Schlepp Rocks of the NFL.
Like I said last week, 2 years in a row,
Bad luck,
every
man.
loss has been 7 points or less, which is incredibly frustrating. First and, what was it, a yard, a foot?
Yeah, basically.
Did Melvin Gordon have the worst holdout in sports history? It was like, it's like DJ Khaled. Congrats, you played yourself. Right?
Yeah.
Is that the worst holdout? Honestly, I can't think of another worse holdout. Did he just forget how to run? What happened?
Every time I watch a Charger game, I will say this, and maybe I was wrong. Austin Eckler looks like a number 1 back.
He did. He does. It's like our offense stopped once they brought back.
He's running patterns deep now. I didn't know he could do that. I've always known he was a good little flashy little runner with quick feet. I didn't know he can get down the seam, catch fly routes, and I'm like, wow, this guy's better than I thought.
Yeah, and I like that kid from Northwestern too.
and
but then Gordon comes back. Gosh dang, they think he's your everyday back, and nothing.
It goes to show you, though, training camp is important. For all these people that say, "Oh, you shouldn't hit him. You got to rest the body." It's like sparring. Try going into a real fight, like with who was it, Anthony Yard. And you know this from being a combat athlete. If you don't actually practice contact and bumping into people, you could just tell with Gordon he's a step slow. He looks a step slow.
That's why the Karate Kid is bogus, because he never sparred. Daniel LaRusso never sparred. Am I right?
You're right about that. What do Jacoby Brissett, Jimmy G, and Tom Brady all have in common?
What?
I think they're all in first place, and 3 years ago, they were all on the same team, the New England Patriots.
Wow.
That is amazing, that franchise, what they do.
Dude, the Niners won again?
Yeah, it was an ugly game. They played in the lake, so
Played in the lake.
it was downpour all day.
Best defense in the NFL. I think Joey Bosa, forget Rookie of the Year, I believe as a rookie, like Lawrence Taylor in 81, he might be the MVP defensively.
Wow.
He's that good. He's
And
that
the Niners just right now traded for Emmanuel Sanders.
Right.
Who's
So they got a
older,
good
but he can move the
receiver.
chains, so.
You look at Joey Bosa, he looks like a healthy
Nick.
Nick. He looks like a healthy version of J.J. Watt. What J.J. Watt was 3-4 years ago before he got banged up, that's that kid. And I've always said
he was hurt, right? Coming out of Ohio State.
Well,
Yeah.
he basically said after his 3rd game, you know what? I'm just going to train now for the pros.
Smart.
Right.
It was like a pulled abdomen muscle, and he was like, screw it.
It worked out. It worked out.
And so the other thing is I believe in football, the true impact is, can you make other players better because they double team you or they do a scheme? When you watch the Niners, they're already game planning against him. That's how good this kid is.
Dang, as a rookie.
He is LT J.J. Watt.
Is he better than his brother then?
Yes, quicker.
Come on.
A little bit quicker. Mario, we're not going to give a review on this yet. We're going to give you a chance. Kimster, seal of approval. I thought Maradona on HBO about soccer, and I'm not a big fan, I thought was excellent. It's one of the best documentaries I've seen.
And they've had other documentaries
Well, they're
on
good at
Maradona.
that.
No, but I'm saying
Yeah.
there's been quite a few, I think, of him. I wonder why they wanted to revisit it. Was
This
it
one
some
is
sort of
more
anniversary?
complete. Yeah, you're right about that. 30 for 30 on ESPN did a short. They do ones that are like 20 minutes. That one specifically dealt with his unbelievable run at the 86 World Cup in Mexico City. That's the first World Cup I can remember. I just moved to Montebello. I was around a lot of Mexicans. So in Valencia, we didn't care about any of that. Moved to Montebello, since it was in Mexico City,
Everybody's
it
watching.
was a big thing. And Maradona did the goal with his hand, the hand of God. And so that's when I knew him. He actually made the cover of Sports Illustrated for a soccer player in the 80s.
Yeah.
To make that cover, which was all baseball, football, and even boxing, and it said the king of soccer. I remember getting it. But this one here is 2 hours and 3 minutes. And even though you kind of know everything, like you're engulfed because you know how sad the life is now.
Yeah.
And cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Well, but it was self-inflicted, right?
Most of it, yes. Most of it. And there's also like organized crime that's involved.
Yeah.
People that are hanging out. It's like this Shakespeare, like Greek tragedy, the way
Yeah,
it turns.
and
I think you'll enjoy it.
And a little dude.
Yeah.
What was coming in, like 5'6"?
He was 5'6", and back then they could just clip your legs. I mean, you could really tackle people, and there'd be fist fights. There's one, he throws a right hand on somebody, knocks out an official. Maradona was a good little bantamweight.
So they're not flopping around.
No. Back then, when you flopped, that's
Yeah.
because you actually got clipped in the legs.
Yeah.
Now you have not caught up to Succession yet. Okay, we're not going to give a review.
We're not going to give a review, but I am loving it. I'm loving it, and it's actually caused fights at home because my wife checked out after 3, and I said, "Well, now I'm hooked. You gotta wait.
Right.
You gotta wait. I gotta watch it till we go to the."
So a situation like that, does she walk out of the room?
She does. She walks out of the room. She goes watch something else, and
I respect that.
I end up.
Gotta respect that. Gotta respect
yeah.
that.
So she's like, "Hey, I only got 3 episodes left, but yes, I'm loving it." And then I gotta find my next deal. What's coming up after that? You don't Did you never watch? Did you ever catch up on Stranger Things?
No, I got to get on.
Dude, what's the
that.
matter with you? Catch up on that. Did you ever watch Ozark?
No.
Oh, catch up on that. Those are your two. That's your homework, Kim.
Okay, another thing. I've been watching All American on CW, and I tweeted about it.
Oh, that one about
the football player.
Yeah, the
from
football player. I see that one. I'm gonna switch to the news.
Good quality show. By the
it?
way, because I tweeted about it, Tay Diggs gave me a follow, so we're Twitter guys.
Is that right?
Hey, Tay,
You and
good
Tay
looking
Diggs.
out, man. I really enjoy all your work, Tay. You're doing a hell of a job.
He's been in here. He's a nice guy.
Absolutely. Good
Yeah.
guy.
All right, anyway, this Saturday I will be in Reno, Nevada. What are your weekend plans?
He gave me a follow.
He did. I followed him back, too, just for
Nice.
the record.
Doing a quick trip to Cabo.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
So, for
Hold
work,
on.
actually. For
Oh,
work.
you're always
Unlike Nichols.
He'll
where
have
it's
no
vacation.
fun while he's there. He promised.
Well, I have fun everywhere. I have fun here. But yeah, just a quick getaway, and then coming back and watching all the fights.
Oh, absolutely. All right, well, that's it for this week's edition of the 3 Knockdown Rule. This is Steve Kim for Mario Lopez and Justin Buffalo Knuckles. Goodbye, everybody.